Okay, I picked this fresh chicken out this morning down at Rainbow Grocery Outlet. I love that store. If you see something you like, get a bunch of it because you may not see it again for a while. But their prices are extremely competitive and the product is fine. I'm not going to advertise who it is. And I like to start out with some paper towel underneath it to kind of catch any of the drippings and so forth, kind of keep my workstation clean. And it helps keep the chicken from dancing around on me. There's probably quite a few ways to cut this, but this way is kind of advised for the Pro Start students who I mentored. And it's easy, it's not tough. What you'll need is a boning knife. It's fairly sharp. A dull knife cuts a lot of people, and so I have a regular steel here. I'm going to dance the blade across that a couple times at a 20-degree angle. Check it. And then I'm going to finish it off with a diamond blade. It's a very fine, or diamond steel. Okay, I think that's sharp enough. And then basically what we want to do is take these giblets out that come with it. I can remember the first time I cooked a turkey for Thanksgiving. I was probably 18 or 19. I roasted it with the giblets in the bag. I didn't check it. So check it inside. Got a little bit of a nib on the neck. That's not a big deal. Got the bulk of it here. And what I'm going to do, and I don't want to put the liver in, I'm going to fortify this pasta water that I'm going to cook the asparagus pasta in a little bit later after I bone this chicken and use some of the thigh meat for the sausage. And I'll show you how to make sausage real easy. It's just an egg and a little bit of white bread or panko breadcrumbs and some seasoning. I like a little bit of coriander. It makes a nice delicate sausage, like and nutmeg like you'd get over in Germany if you had like a Weisswurst. It's very tasty, very mild. And so basically we're going to come in here and we're going to cut along the thigh. And we're going to cut along this thigh. Cut down in there pretty deep. Then we're going to roll it over, and then I'm going to break that bone loose, and I'm going to rake right along the carcass and get out what's called the oyster. That's a little piece of cushion meat that's right in there. And if you've done that, it's a good job. And so here again, push down, and you'll hear it kind of break and pop. And so basically, you're not cutting any bone. You're just cutting where you've left that joint open. And then I think I'm going to stuff this breast and roast it, and I'm going to slip some more of that sausage up underneath the breast, and I'm going to cook this on what they call tripods. That means I'll leave the first joint of the wing intact, so when I tie it together, it'll kind of roast like this and be nice and tight, and hold the coriander sausage inside. So I'm basically going to cut there and bend this backwards, the wing backwards, so you can see the joints exposed. Bring my knife right up, bring it down. Same with this. I'm going to make a little nick, and I'm going to bend it backwards so I can see the joint. And you can see that I haven't broken any bone. But now in the roasting process, and I'm going to scrape this down a little bit, down towards the body. So I want to expose that bone, and I'll tell you why. If you don't nip the top of this bone open so the blood can flow out of it, the blood will flow back into the chicken. You've probably seen that it's sometimes in chicken places or at a fancy restaurant where they didn't know how to do that properly. And so that blood travels back in and sets in there and shows up a bit on the red side. So we're going to rake these down, and as they cook, they'll shrink down against the breast. And then I'm going to come in here and take this backbone out with a little bit heavier knife, because I don't really need it for this. What I need it for is for stock, for the pasta. And so you see how easy that came out. Doesn't require a lot of force, just a nice sharp knife. And I'm going to rinse it a little bit before I put it in there. You know, they rinse these chickens at the slaughterhouse, but I'm not sure they do that good of a job. This is a giblet, and I want it. I don't want the liver. It tends to clog the water. I'll save that. I'll save that for a pate or something else down the road. So I'm not going to throw it away. And so now I've got this where I want it. I've got a little bit of the breast flap, and I really don't want all that flap. I mean, I could use a little, but I'm going to take a little more off. And for that, I'm going to use some poultry shears. And if you don't have them, you can use your knife. So I'm basically going to come in there and cut that off. And here again, this becomes stock. Don't want to waste anything. My mom used to say, use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. So let's not waste anything. My grandmother didn't have these fancy beef bases and chicken bases and all this stuff that they use nowadays. And you don't really need it if you know how to create flavor and you don't give up flavor. So you got to rake your pan to get all that fond that's on it back into it without giving it up. So we got that trimmed up rather nicely. We'll rinse this off. And for now, I'll have to show you how this works. I'm going to make an incision right in here, and I'm going to go the length of the breast. And I can feel my knife sliding down through there. Maybe you've heard the term pouched pork chop. That's kind of what I'm doing, but I'm leaving a smaller hole here than I am down here. I'm kind of hollowing that out. That's where that thigh meat sausage is going to go. And I'm going to go in here as well. And through the magic of Tyler doing some editing, we'll save you a lot of time. We'll put this in the oven and roast it. Probably get the oven going now. I'm cooking on an auger range. I've had it for, a number of years. Made over in England. It's really an awesome stove. It's called a dual fuel. It's all gas on top. And the Dutch oven and the slow oven are both electric. It's got a pull-out jar broiler so you can do steaks as well. And now that we're at that stage, we're going to cut these wing tips off. Because these pieces here, obviously, wings are very popular nowadays. And so we can blanch those off in the stock as well and use those down the road. Put them in the freezer until we get enough of them together to make something out of it. And now we're going to do the same thing with this leg bone. I pull it backwards so I can get in there at that joint without cutting bone. I'm going to do the same with this one. Go backwards against the joint and you'll hear it snap. You'll feel it if you have your thumb in there. So you'll know where to cut. It's kind of a guide. And you can see, real easy, didn't take a lot. Now I'm going to bone these thighs out because we're going to make a sausage out of them. Just go along the bone. Take that bone out very easily. Break it down so you can get as much product for the sausage as possible. And I'm going to do both of them because if I'm going to do the asparagus and the chicken, and I may do it two ways. I may do a little bit different sausage for the breast than I'm going to do for the asparagus to add some variety and some different flavors. And I'm going to take the fat, the skin off, because in my sausage it's pretty lean. I don't like too much fat in it. It's mainly egg and the meat, the herbs, a little salt, a little pepper. I'm kind of raking along that plate. Now this is going to become stock too. It's going to. I'm not giving up anything. So meat trimmings and bone I want. Skin. I'll tell you why I'm going to use the skin. Because the fat that comes off of that actually has some flavor. And in pasta, it'll help me. I won't have to use so much expensive olive oil. And here again, I'm creating flavor. Olive oil has its own flavor. It's very delicate. But I'm trying to get this chicken flavor into this pasta side dish. And I'll show you a basic way my grandmother used to roll out pasta with just a rolling pin. You don't have to use one of these little machines. You don't have to. Yeah, it's very simple. You'll appreciate it. It's kind of a serpentine roll up. I watched her make a ton of pasta on that, and I watched her make raviolis by hand with biscuit cutters. There's just a lot of neat things you can do by keeping the cooking simple, not using so much fancy equipment. Seems like the more equipment you have, the more chances you have of things breaking down. And obviously that's no fun. And I have a mandolin we'll probably bring into play. I'm going to show you guys how to make some zucchini lasagna. It's a vegan dish, and sometimes, especially this year, the sun's been so hot, the zucchini just gets away from you. And sometimes when it gets too big for a nice delicate vegetable, you can put on that mandolin and shave nice strands off of it, just like lasagna. And I dry it out in my Cabela's tin drawer dryer. Probably dry it out in the sun with a screen over the top to keep the bugs away from it. So I got the thigh meat here, trimming off the little bits of fat. So like I said, I don't like too much fat in the sausage, but I will put it in the stock. And when I cook, I have iodized salt, and you need that in your diet, but when I cook, I really like kosher salt. To me, it's awesome stuff. And I don't want to get too carried away at this stage because I'll use that for final seasoning. Another ingredient that I really like is apple cider vinegar. This one's Bragg's product. It's organic, it's all natural, it's got the mother in it. It actually will put a culture in your body. It's really good for you. And it tastes really good. So we'll work that into our routine today. And now that we're going to get ready to make the sausage, I'll take another little break. We'll cut the camera off, and we'll set up to do that and show you how the sausage is going to be made to stick in here. And then we'll go on to start doing the asparagus pasta.